Hey friends, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to do a little review of my experience of Ironman Italy, because I didn't think it was the best one, but would I recommend it? No. Here's why. Starting off like travelling, so where is, I suppose, Ironman Italy? It's Emilia Romagna, so it's in Serbia, well I think I'm saying this right, Serbia and Italy, so it's like right on the Adriatic coast. But to get to it, you've got like a choice of a few airports, but the main one is like BLG or BOG. It's like the international one. The trouble with that is it's a 2-hour train ride from the airport to Serbia. So I thought, this seems crazy. I'm going on my own. I had a friend who was going with his wife out there, and we were looking at the flights, but it seemed like a hassle if you've got to take your bikes on a train. So we stayed clear of that one, and we booked a flight to a place called Rimini. So Rimini is this tiny little crappy airport, to say the least. And it's about probably 40 minutes drive from sort of where the Ironman is going to take place, so Serbia itself, where people are staying. I flew in and it reminded me a lot of Nairobi airport, you know, quite not a lot there. Let's put it like this, there's no real facilities or anything. And I would stay well clear of that airport. And if I were you, looking back now, having spoken to people, I would say fly into the main international one and get the train, because they seem to be quite reasonable. It's really hard to find a taxi. So I landed at the airport, and I was there a while, got off the plane, met a couple of randomers who also, we had bike boxes, so really nice guys, they were travelling, so we waited and shared a taxi, but it took us ages to even get a taxi from the airport. There wasn't like a good taxi queue and you could just get one. It literally was, you know, slim pickings, and luckily one of them managed to contact a taxi company, and voila, we got there and we got the thing. I stayed, I'll find the exact location and put it up on the screen actually. What I believed was really close to the event. So I was thinking, yes, nailed it. Got some good accommodation, and it's walking distance from what I perceived on the map as where the swim started. Oh my God, I was wrong. So from my hotel to the swim start was probably 1.5 miles. So you walk straight up to the beach and then all the way along. And I was thinking, well, that's not too bad. I'll just get a taxi around an Uber or something. Not at all. So that's almost non-existent there. Well, last year, 2025, nothing. My friend thought he was close. He was actually 3 miles from the start. So it's another 1.5 from me. So when we went to walk up the day before, obviously you're exerting so much energy. There was no way to get around. Very poorly signposted. Yeah, bit of a mess. So I'd stay clear of Rimini Airport, go to the main international one, get a train, or you could get a taxi from there. To be honest, there's not a lot of difference in price. I think a taxi is about, I want to say from the main airport, it was close to 200 euros, and I paid 120 to go from Rimini, which is like 35 minutes, but they were fleecing you, because I asked hotel sort of managers and I was like, what, you know, and they were like, oh my God, it's never this price. But because the Ironman's on, they fleece you and there's no taxis around. Moving on to the event itself, sort of event registration, that type of thing. I've only done one Ironman. I did Ironman Wales in Tenby in 2023, and that was an amazing experience. So like incredibly well organised, great atmosphere, facilities everywhere, A-star. If you look at that as an event, you go, oh, that really tickled my fancy and got me into Ironman. The trouble is with Italy, they had a tent on the beach, like you normally have like a merch tent a few days before, and you'd go there and you'd get like your registrations, you'd get like your bibs, you get like a bracelet to go on your wrist, etc. It just registers you for the event. You pick up your like a bag of all your like your swim, multiple bags that you then decanter and put in. I had an issue with my email in the sense that I didn't get any communication or anything from the event. I did try and sort it. So I go to the queue up, and it's obviously very busy because there's a 70.3 on, I believe, the day before. So it's heaving in this tent. So I queue up for probably 40 minutes in these queues. Chat to someone, go, oh, hi there, I haven't got a barcode, you need to scan a barcode to get in. They were like, oh, you need to go see that desk. So, oh, fair enough. So obviously you can't just barge into the front. So I had to queue again for another desk. And that was probably another 30 minutes. And then they were like, no, we can't help you. Then you sent it back. So I had to keep doing this. And I was in there at least 2 hours. And eventually one of them changed the settings on the computer so I could have a barcode. So it's probably 2.5 hours of doing nothing, just stood around because it was so unorganised, chaotic. Finally, just to be able to get my bags and my bib. That's all it was, which is pretty frustrating, to be honest. And in terms of merchandise, when I went there, there was literally only merch for 70.3, very poorly done. It was just a bit of a mess, really. And you had to walk miles all over the place to get to places. So that was a key factor. Another issue, and I think it's important if you're flying a bike, I flew my bike, and every time I have had issues with the brakes. So you've got the little handles, and obviously the brake handles, and I don't know what happens, even with locking kits, but my brakes need bleeding. So I got there, and none of my brakes would work. Obviously, it's like, I couldn't fix it the first day I arrived because I couldn't find anywhere. So I had one day before the event. So I went to a bike place near the Ironman Village. Ironman Village only had one. And obviously, you've got people coming in, lots of people with issues, heaving. So I managed to find this other place, it's obviously part of the Ironman event. No one spoke any English, so it was sort of like pointing, brake. And it wasn't just my brakes. I had an issue with the gearing, so it's like I think I got DI12 or whatever it is, gears, electronics, where none of the electrics would work, even though it was charged. Couldn't work that. Actually, I'll attach the link below because I spoke to loads of people about this. Even the event people, the bike people, like couldn't really fix it. And I was obviously incredibly stressing and I'm not going to be able to do the event. YouTube's a wonderful place. Found this video and I will find it and link it below for anyone who has this issue. It was as simple as you don't do anything. You've like pulled something up and something, but I'll post the video so that people can use it in future. Game changer. So that was like, hallelujah. The gods were looking down. And I did that in the evening just before the event. So in terms of availability of mechanics and stuff, really poor, really hard to find, terribly organised. Even the village, the merch and everything, really bad. Relative to like Wales, which is an amazing experience, really well organised. And my friend had done Florida and he said the same, just incredible experience, really helpful. General organisation of the event, I would say, was just a shit show. So most people couldn't speak English, which I sort of get if you're in Italy, but it's obviously a global brand, Ironman, and you expect to have people there who can help you out because lots of people do their first Ironman. It's quite intimidating. There's thousands of people. So I thought it was really poorly done. I actually lost my watch. We were queuing. This is a good example of poorly organised. So the sea swim is, it is a sea swim, sorry. And we were all queuing and we were stood on the beach from when the whistle went beep or the bell went, whatever you want to call it, to going. It was about 1 hour, which is incredibly frustrating. And the reason for that was we were like, why is it so slow? When we got to the end, he was like, there's 300 people left because they were only letting out, imagine horse racing, you've got the stalls. There was like, I don't know, let's say 6 people could go at once. I suppose it's to reduce the amount of people going. But the issue with that is, if you don't, they don't tell you that's the way it's happening. You could be there for hours on the beach, even if you're in the right pen, because only a few people, you can't see over. Whereas in Wales, they blow the thing and you just run into the sea. And obviously you're funneled in, it's very efficient and you all go seamlessly. The trouble was with that, we were up towards the rear and it meant we had to swim round people, so the swim was longer and harder. And then someone swam over me at the end and it literally just ripped my watch off some of the clips here and it sank to the bottom and I had to do the event without a watch. But that was, it is what it is, that's such is life. The bike course, I'll post a picture here, is like very fast, so I did an amazing time, really good. And there's like one hill which you do twice because you're doing 2 laps. So in theory, it's not too bad. I would say that the support on the bike was incredibly poor. So it was really, really hot, obviously over 30 degrees. And a number of people, obviously, you get into trouble if you're out quite a long way and you start to feel ill. who were like sick on the side of the road, no one helping them. There was a couple of big crashes where people got helped, obviously. But I spoke to a lad in my hotel after, poor chap, it was like the next day. He had like passed out on the bike and he was on the deck being sick on the floor for like 2 hours, laid there on like the motorway stretch, and I'll post a picture. And nobody came to help him, not one. And it took him hours to even get home. He had to push his bike. But he saw multiple people who were similar to him and no one helped. And I didn't see any single person get assistance in the whole race in terms of like, are you okay? You're clearly unwell. We'll put you like in the ambulance or take you in the support car and you're sort of out the event. None of that. Absolutely appalling. And I noticed that going round. It was a real disgrace actually from Ironman, because I saw a few people who were not in a very good state and no one came to help them. And obviously you're a long way from home and you're not in a good state. It's not, it's pretty, it's not a very nice situation to be in. And no one came. So I feel really sorry for those people, and I thought that was a disgrace for Ironman. One of the issues, which is why that happened, is because the aid stations were really poor. So there was no ice, which you'd normally expect, or you'd see in most Ironman events. You'd be able to grab some ice, put it down your back. If you're in like 30 odd degree heat, you'd have water where you could grab the bottles. They had like a good array of like gels and stuff. There, it was just crap. There was barely any type of there wasn't bottles you'd replace. So if you're in the Ironman Wells and you have a standard plastic bottle that's Ironman branded, you literally throw yours down, grab a new one already full. This wasn't like that. This was like almost plastic bottles of water, so you'd have to decant. It was just almost felt like it was bodged event. So there was none of that. So if you wanted to keep your bottle, which sat in your bike, you obviously had to stop, change it all, blah, blah, blah. So you couldn't really get the fuel you needed, I didn't think, on the course. And I think that's a big issue of why lots of people were in sorry state, to be honest. Was good. It's a beautiful little city. It's quite nice if you want to get food in the evening. It's really quite lovely. You go through, it's quite boring. It's 4 laps. I didn't have a watch, so I had to guess it. It seemed to drag on. But there was another, this is a good example of where the race was just a shit show. So people would run along with obviously their partner or friend or son, daughter, and give them like additional supplies. So like whether it's be like bottled stuff, gels, and obviously it sort of goes against the rules. So you shouldn't help people in the event. It's like a solid area. In Wales, none of that. It's very well policed on motorbikes, people coming, you wouldn't get away with it. It was just relentless here, people running alongside. There was no policing of the run or the bike, and loads of people get external assistance in the race. And it's quite frustrating if it's like if you obviously can't have that or not doing it because you're following the rules and so is everyone else. The other people I spoke to at the event who I met and my friend all said the same. They saw so many people getting assistance. So that was pretty poor. So in a way, that's why I go back to the old event itself. You expect it to be a good standard, fair, support the people. It wasn't like that at all. So, but the actual run was quite pretty. Going around was quite pleasant. Nothing to shout home about. And we actually stayed after the event. So once we'd done the run, we went back out to like cheer people on, near the bar, what have you. And what was quite sad is there was no real Ironman people running with them at the end. So I think there's a few people, there might have been one person on a bicycle, but the atmosphere was obviously, it's died down a bit then. Whereas if you go to like other events like Florida World, the support is phenomenal for the people who are left on the course. And that wasn't the case in Italy. And that's a bit of a shame. And that's purely Ironman's fault. They didn't really have enough. It just was terribly organised. My last take on the sort of race itself and the experience would be Ironman Village and stuff like that. So, but they're already taking down the village and everything that whilst the last people are coming on the run. And I just think that's such an awful atmosphere. If you paid all this money to go to the event and you want the experience, and they're already, you could see it even when we were running. And I think I did like 4 hours 4 hours 10 or something like that on the marathon, and they were dismantling stuff on the beach, so you sort of lose the atmosphere. You're like, oh crumbs, you want all the merch, the stuff up, the tents, the people, because that's what creates the event and gives it a great vibe. But it was pretty sad to see all that's taken down. By the next day, everything's gone. It's like a ghost town, and it's just a little bit sad. And that's why I'd say I don't rate it at all. Serbia as a place, I don't know many people are from the UK in my channel, but all my 142 followers, thank you very much. I would say is a bit like Weymouth in the UK, so it's like a seaside town. It's predominantly, having spoken to people there, it's for like local people of like that sort of Italy, like sort of package holiday type thing on the beach. It's not really my vibe. It's a bit of a dump, and there's not a lot to be honest, keep it real. Bit of a dump. There's not a lot there. A lot of buildings run down. If you were going to do an Ironman and spending all that money, would you do it? I would say do not go to Italy and do an Emilia Romagna. My friend said the same. I think he put a complaint into Ironman. 3 of the other people did, because they were just so shocked. And all the people I met had done an Ironman previously somewhere, whether it's the UK or abroad, and their experiences had been brilliant. But everyone I spoke to on this Ironman, myself included, just thought it was just not a good experience. Would not recommend. Extremely hard to get a taxi to the airport for me the next day. Cost a fortune. Hotels weren't very good across the board where we were. Maybe you could find a better one. I'll post where I went, just so you can see location wise if someone did want to do the event. If you want something like good bars and stuff, I suppose you could have a couple of nice meals, really like pizza places like on the old town. That's quite nice. But I had a little look around. I think I had 2 days actually before I flew home. So I had 1 day after the event and the other day. Within a few hours, there wasn't a lot to do, and I wished I'd gone that sort of. I wished I'd left almost immediately after the Ironman or the next day, first thing, because there wasn't anything to do, and the 2 days just dragged, and it was an absolute ghost town. Everyone's packed their end of season. Ironman's gone, not a lot to do. So I would personally have left, get the buzz of the event, and left. Overall, my whole experience on Ironman Italy 2025, incredibly poor. Do not recommend. Stay clear. I want to give this an honest review. If you want to do one in the UK, Tenby Wales, incredible. I've heard Florida's good. There's many others, but that's my review of Ironman Wales. Bit of a shame really, because I was hoping it'd be a good one, but yeah, we've got there. It's got a nice medal, isn't it? No, this is the best bit actually. This is the best bit of Ironman Italy, the medal. So we've got one of those bad boys. Quite nice, isn't it? And I quite like that. It's actually vibes. That was the best bit. Yeah, so that's my review of Ironman Italy. See you all soon.